Going to the Seahawks,
The chickens.
there was a couple fun things that happened.
Chickens are always fun.
Yeah.
Someone, I saw a post the other day that said best record in the past 10 years. And the Seahawks, I think, were number 1. And then it was something to do with like most imprisonment.
Oh, nice.
I think the Seahawks. I think the Vikings were one, and the
I
Seahawks
did
were like
see that.
the Seahawks
Yeah.
were like right there. And I'm like a classic. We always have issues. So let's go over the game first, then we can talk about off the field practice.
I mean,
stuff.
it was
Obviously,
good.
Geno didn't play.
Yeah,
That was kind of the big one.
that kind of sucked. I mean, I would have
Yeah, a
liked
little
to have
bit.
seen him for like a quarter.
Well, he's coming
But-
off of his injury.
Oh, I
so-
do have a list actually. It was Geno Smith,
Yeah,
Ken Walker, DK Metcalf,
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett, Jerome Baker. I'm not sure who that is. Mike Jackson, his cornerback, Darrell Taylor, Draymond
Yeah.
Jones, Charles Cross, George Fant, and Noah Fant did not play.
Yeah, and
So
most
that's
of those
quite
guys,
a few
I think
starters.
most of those
Yeah.
guys are on injuries. I think there's a good chunk of them, like Tyler Lockett and DK, and Walker gets injured every game, so you might as well not play him.
Yeah.
DK and Tyler are just not going to. They'll probably play the last game to get some
Yeah.
reps, but you know who you're going to get out of them. Obviously, Geno coming off injury, I think he probably would have played like a quarter max, maybe a couple
There's
drives.
no need though.
Yeah,
So-
and Howell didn't look bad.
He was 17 for 27,
16.
130 yards,
16 for 27.
and a TD and no interceptions. So.
Yeah, he averaged 5 yards a throw, basically. He had an 83 QB rating, 84 QB rating. From the report saying that he was struggling at training camp,
I mean, he didn't look
he looked fine.
that bad.
And again, like
So-
I've said to you and to other people, he's a proven quarterback. He threw 4,000 yards last year. He wasn't
Yeah.
yes, he was on the Commanders. He didn't win MVP. He wasn't, but he knows what he's doing. I thought that was interesting. McIntosh ran the ball.
Kenny
I don't
McIntosh,
know.
yeah.
Was he on the team last year?
Yeah, he's from FSU. He got drafted like
That's
in
where
the
he's
second
from.
round or third round.
It was
a
funny
while ago,
because
like 2
he,
years ago maybe.
So last year, because there was a McIntosh on the Cougs a couple years ago, and I think he transferred away, and he was running back, and I was thinking, did the Seahawks pick up a
Yeah.
Cougar? But they didn't.
No,
he
that's
had a
reserved for Abe
he had a
Lucas.
good yard, a couple good game, 5 yards a carry. 14 was his longest. A lot of running backs that obviously doesn't really matter. Kobe Lewis, I think, will be on the team. Wide receiver wise, like Njigba played 2 catches, 13 yards.
I think Bobo played quite a bit.
Bobo
too.
played. He played one. He had 1 catch, 7 yards, four targets though. Njigba, the one thing that I love is last year Njigba and DK were in the top 10 for most drops, I believe. Njigba was 2 for 2, so his targets were 2. He caught both of them. That's big. But yeah, all the other guys, like I don't know who. I mean, there's so many names here. Derek White or Derek Young, Derek E. I don't know his name.
I have no idea.
All these guys.
sure.
Aesop Winston Jr. That's a Coug. We want him on the team for sure. It's his first season. He's been very Mr. Consistent at Pullman. So he would be fun to have on team. I'd probably get a jersey because we got to hang up more. Sam's running out of jerseys.
We'll see about that.
Um,
It's a bad
but yeah,
addiction.
a couple sacks. But again, people that you just don't really know. So it's kind of hard to know.
Our defense looked really good. Obviously, we won 16-3, so
Yeah.
we still did something right.
Jake Bobo had a tackle. I don't know what that was for.
Nice.
I'm just looking at
Special
random
teams.
things. It had to have been a
special
teams or
players.
something. But yeah, I think the Seahawks looked fine. I mean, the Chargers looked really bad.
Yeah.
I
I feel like you expect that at first.
mean,
but
again,
it can't last.
Both team. I think if you line up both teams, obviously with like if Herbert's play, if like the Chargers are fully strength, I think they're probably a better team, like roster wise, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, you have a very defensive minded coach in McDonald, then you have more of a offensive minded coach in Harbaugh going at each other. You know, just it's new systems. It's just a lot of new stuff. So I'm not too stressed about it. Obviously, I think the preseason's. I don't know.
It's only 3 games.
People freak out. Like my coworkers are all decked out in all their Seahawks stuff. It's starting this week, and I'm like, yeah, you get to watch. No one you're gonna watch for the regular season. Who cares? Like,
Pretty much.
I don't care. I get it. It's like the
Yeah.
draft day. I'm like, I don't. It doesn't get me going. It doesn't get me excited. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. They play next. They play what, the Browns? I think next.
Honestly,
They're on the road. No, Titans on the road. Browns at home. So next week they play the Titans in Tennessee, and then they come home to the Browns to end it out. And then we start against the Broncos, which is so sad because it could have been
so good.
Could have been Russell Wilson again.
Just getting dominated.
I don't know if we play the Steelers today. I know we play some of the division. I think we play the Browns. We do. No, we don't. Never mind. I'm lying. I'm lying to you. I'm so sorry I lied to you.
It's okay. We'll probably see Bo Nix start.
Bo Nix looked good.
Bo Nix looked really
Bo Nix looked. I mean, I heard Colin Cowherd. I was listening to him on something today. Yeah, he's kind of an idiot. He has some really hot takes. I mean, he knows his sports. He's from up here. I didn't know that. He's from out here. But he has some hot takes. But Bo Nix looked good. Bo Nix looked really good. 15 for 21, 125 yards and a touchdown. And he was already like, oh, this is going to be the next Peyton Breeze. I'm like, okay.
No.
Literally, Drew Brees is arguably, without all the Super Bowls and the playoffs wins and maybe stuff like that, he might be considered the best quarterback ever. Like, just statistically
regular
wise.
season-wise, he was so good.
Lit up everything. And yes, Tom Brady's with him, of course. But he's in that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady conversation. You can add some other names in there. But yeah, he looked good. But I don't think he's going to be the next Drew Brees. So
we'll see about that.
He's also 37 years old already, so let's chill out, guys.
It's okay.
But yeah.
Oh, the Seahawks fight train.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I tell you, the Seahawks can't go without anything. The other news that maybe we can talk about too, maybe do a separate video on, the first AP poll came out of college. So I was thinking of that with Bo Nix. Oregon, I think, is either 2 or 3. Oregon looks good.
Nice.
Seahawks fights are about as common as the sun shining every day in Florida.
Yep.
Like, it just
pretty much
happens. It just happens. From what I heard was DK grabbed Trey Brown, Tay Brown, his helmet, and then like threw it at him or swung
he hit
it
him
at
on
him.
a shoulder pad.
Yeah, and then I believe Trey Brown punched Bobo, and just all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. So
I heard it was a quick scuffle, but I think I like the fact that McDonald was like, yes, like, you guys are brothers, but you gotta go, like, you gotta push each other and frustrate each other, because if you can do it here, then in the game, hopefully it's not so bad. Now, obviously, DK is probably gonna fight at least over under 10 people this year, but again, it's just like the sun shining for it. DK fighting someone, it's gonna happen. He just does it. But he like, this was McDonald's quote. Like I said, we're on the edge, which I think one kind of going into the season. Like, the Seahawks are kind of a fringe playoff team. I personally think they're going to miss it, but they're going to be, I think they're going to be right there. He goes, at this point, we're tired of going against one another, so there's an edge to us, which is a good to a degree, and we just have to make sure we keep our poise in our in certain situations, because at the end of the day, we want to take care of one another, and we're wearing the same helmet. I love that statement. You're playing the same person over and over and over again, and they're starting to be able to read your routes. They know what you're going to do. They know your tendencies. It's hard to beat them. And so you get frustrated when you're DK Metcalf, because you're probably a top, 15, 20 wide receiver in the league. You're really good. And when Trey Brown literally knows exactly what you're going to do every single play, every single time, and reads it and undercuts you and takes the ball from you, you're going to get kind of pissed off. So
that would be extremely frustrating.
Yeah. And so I like what McDonald says. There's an edge. You have to be willing to, have those kind of arguments and talks and scruffles, thank you. But you also, like you said, we're wearing the same helmet. We have the same jersey on. We're teammates. We're family. You can't be hurt. If you swing that helmet the wrong way and it hits him in
remember
the
when
head,
Myles Garrett hit Mason Rudolph and he was suspended for 6 games?
Or Andre Johnson and that one
there
guy
was a
from
couple,
Tennessee.
So.
But if you swing your helmet the wrong way, Trey Brown could be out for the year.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to know where that level is. And it's hard, obviously. DK is emotional to the nth degree. But, again, it's the Seahawks. We're so used to this by now. We've always had an edge. The jersey behind me kind of started that thing with Pete Carroll, with him and Brendan Browner, and then Earl Thomas and Sherman. They talked a lot. They never backed down. They had each other's back, but even in practice they would go after each other. They wanted to make each other better. So you just have to be, like you said, you just have to be understanding that, hey, we're fighting for the same thing here. We're on the same team. So I find it interesting, but I like it. I agree with him.
Yep. I think the last thing I had was kind of a medium major thing. I don't know. We signed Connor Williams. He's a center.
Oh, was that the trade from the Browns?
We traded Nick Harris to the Browns and swapped 6th round picks. But Connor Williams was a Dolphin. And
yeah,
so I've heard he's pretty
he was a
good.
good center last
So-
year. Was he a center?
Yeah. So I've heard that's pretty exciting. Like I said, I don't know too much about offensive linemen as far as skill sets, but from what I've heard, everyone is pretty excited about him. So
Yeah, I heard
that'll
that.
be good because I think he had some injury problems when I was reading into it. But obviously they wouldn't have traded Nick Harris if he's not kind of over that. So, but we do have another backup. I cannot remember his
So
name.
it says
right now,
Williams
but-
is not even 9 full months removed from an ACL injury he suffered
Yeah.
last year, which crazy. But ACL, it's like hit or miss because like you had
Yeah.
Derrick Rose's situation where yes, it took him a lot longer. Then you have Adrian Peterson, who I believe won MVP right when he came back,
He was insane.
and he didn't even take a year. So it's different with everyone, but ACL injuries seem to be coming back way quicker than they used to be like a year minimum, and now they're like maybe 10 months.
So he hopefully should be back in starting time for week 1.
Yeah,
so we'll
and I'm
see.
trying to see like I want to know if he's like if he won anything or if he was let's see.
I don't know if he graded out really high or not.
So
but
in first team All Pac-10, freshman All-American, contested All-American. I just didn't know if he's done anything in he was on the Cowboys.
Let's see.
50th overall pick in 2018.
He was on the Cowboys, and he's definitely
He
good
did
on the
suffer an
offensive
ACL
lineman.
again. Then he signed a 2-year, $14 million with the Dolphins. Blah, blah, blah. Was not prended. Blah, blah,
Yeah, he
blah.
pretty much played most games up until last year.
Yeah, so he's bummed both ACLs. So he suffered a season-ending ACL injury in Week 14 with the Titans. So the other thing, again, with the Seahawks is having a different offensive line every game is about as common as the sun in Florida. so the more you can have, the better you can be with the offensive line,
So
just to
frustrating.
be safe. And obviously, it sounds like from what I've heard, he's a good center when healthy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he won 6A All-State. They have 6A. Where is he from? Texas? Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
6A is crazy. Our biggest A for high
Is
school
it
is
4?
4.
Yeah, I
And-
don't think we have a 5A school.
No, and 4A here is like Issaquah Skyline, like those schools.
I know
And
my high school's 4A now.
Those
but
Enumclaw High School is, or
Auburn Mountain View.
yeah, those
But
are.
it's only
But
for
how many
certain sports.
people did you? How many
I
people go-
graduate, or my school was like 2,500 maybe.
Yeah, so that's the thing about it. 6A,
Probably like 6,000.
it might be up to like to 10. Some of the stadiums down in Texas
Just
make
absolutely
us look
wild.
silly. Like our stadium's like, oh yeah, our like Liberty has a big stadium because they built the old one and then built a new one and just left the old one up because it's covered and it's not. It's like good for the away fans. So the new one's really nice and big, but it's like, I mean, maximum it probably fits maybe 10,000 maximum, but that's like that would be like huge in Washington. That's like massive. But
No,
anyway,
it just doesn't happen.
no. But I think it's interesting. I think the Seahawks are in a good spot. I think, obviously, I think there's going to be more of a battle still with Geno and Howell. I think there's more to it than just being like, yep, Geno's got it. I think there's a lot more to it than.
Yeah, I don't think they would have traded that high a pick for Howell if there wasn't.
Yeah.
Just because, I think I know they've made other trades since then, but like the Jamal Adams trade, they were pretty heavily invested in it, and obviously he's going to play, so I don't think they're going to give away a high draft pick for just someone just to sit on the bench.
Yeah, and I think
So-
that there's another way to look at it too is Geno has 1 year left. The likelihood of him staying after this year is
There's just
unless
no
he
way.
wins the Super Bowl or something. There's just no shot. I think
Unless
I
he
wanna-
stays as a backup.
Yeah, and I don't think Geno. He probably he's played a couple years now. He's been solid. Whatever. I think there's another team that might look at it and go,
1 year
we
deal.
We need a
Yeah.
quarterback to put us over the edge. We'll just sign him to a 1 year, $5 million deal or whatever, something easy. And then Howell's your filler quarterback when you hopefully draft someone next year. So there's options.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials and come back next week for next week's episodes.